The phone rang at 2:17 in the morning. Nothing good ever comes from a call at that hour. Abby answered anyway, her voice thick with sleep, and the moment she heard the man on the other end, she knew this night was about to change everything, though she had no idea just how much. "Where the hell are you?" the voice demanded. Deep, commanding, a stranger's voice, but full of raw panic. "The baby won't stop crying, and I can't find the formula. You said you'd be back by midnight." Abby sat straight up in bed. "I think you have the wrong number." A pause. Then, quieter. "Then this isn't Jessica." "No, this is Abby. You've dialed the wrong number." She almost hung up right there. But then she heard it, the unmistakable wail of an infant in the background, desperate and raw, and something in her chest twisted despite the fact she had no children of her own. The man swore softly under his breath. "I'm sorry to bother you. I'm at my wit's end here." There was something underneath his voice, wealth, power, and beneath all of it, real fear. "Is the baby okay?" Abby asked before she could stop herself. "I don't know. He won't stop crying. His mother left hours ago for what was supposed to be a quick errand. I haven't been able to reach her. I've never been alone with him this long before." Abby looked around her small apartment. The unpaid bills stacked on the counter, the silence of a life stalled since she'd lost a job at the bookstore. Sleep wasn't coming back tonight anyway. "Do you have a pen?" she asked. "I'll walk you through it." 20 minutes later, the crying stopped. Relief flooded the stranger's voice. "Thank you. I'm Jackson Reyes. By the way..." Abby nearly dropped the phone. Everyone in Boston knew that name. CEO of one of the biggest tech empires on the East Coast, a man whose face was never far from the business headlines. Recently widowed, as far as she remembered. She hadn't heard anything about a baby. "I'm Abby Miller," she said, suddenly self-conscious in her empty apartment. "You saved me tonight, Abby Miller. How can I repay you?" She laughed it off. It was just basic baby advice. But Jackson wasn't laughing. "This is unorthodox," he said. "But would you consider working for me? As Thomas's night nanny. I'll pay triple whatever you're making now." Abby's mind went straight to her dwindling bank account, the stack of rejection letters on her table. "Mr. Reyes, you don't even know me. I know you're kind enough to help a stranger at 2 in the morning. Patient enough to talk a hopeless father through diaper bags and bottle temperatures. That's more than any resume has shown me all month. A beat, and you've already been vetted. My security team's been listening since the moment you picked up." It should have scared her off. Instead, it made her curious. "Can I think about it?" "Of course, but I'll be calling back regardless. You're the only one who's gotten him to sleep tonight." The next morning, Abby still couldn't shake the conversation. When her phone rang again, she already knew who it was. By the end of the call, she'd said yes. That evening, a sleek black car pulled up outside her apartment and carried her toward Beacon Hill, toward a life she never could have imagined 24 hours earlier. Jackson met her at the door himself, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, an infant fussing in his arms. "Miss Miller, perfect timing." He handed her the baby, and the moment Thomas settled against her, something in Jackson's face shifted, surprise, and something like hope. "He likes you," he said. "Babies can sense tension," Abby told him gently. "You were probably holding him too tight." As she settled into the sprawling, beautifully cold house, a home clearly designed, not lived in, Jackson opened up. Thomas's mother, Jessica, wasn't his wife. She was a brief relationship from a year ago who'd shown up a month earlier, baby in arms, claiming Thomas was his. Then she vanished again just as quickly. A paternity test was already scheduled. "Though it hardly matters," Jackson admitted, looking down at the sleeping baby. "I already love him." Abby noticed things that first night. No photos of Jessica anywhere in the house. A nursery beautifully furnished, but strangely impersonal. And Jackson, for all his wealth, utterly alone once the staff went home. Just before dawn, as she rocked Thomas back to sleep, Jackson appeared in the doorway, still in yesterday's clothes, looking like he hadn't slept at all. "Jessica called," he said. "She's not coming back." Then his expression changed, sharpened, but before she hung up, she said something strange. "She told me to ask my new nanny about the baby, that you know more than you're telling me." His eyes locked on Abby's. What do you know about my son? Abby's heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. Mr. Reyes, I swear to you, I've never met Jessica in my life. I didn't even know you had a child before your call woke me up 2 nights ago. You dialed the wrong number. Check your phone records if you don't believe me. The silence stretched between them until, finally, his shoulders dropped. You're right. I'm sorry. None of this has been making sense since Jessica walked back into my life. By morning, a contract was signed, a generous salary deposited, and Abby's old life quietly closed behind her. But as she cared for Thomas that first full day, watching Jackson's guarded face soften every time he held his son, she had no idea that the real danger hadn't even started yet. Because somewhere out there, someone already knew exactly who Abby was, and they were about to make sure Jackson found out too. That night, as Abby rocked Thomas to sleep, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You don't know what you've gotten yourself into. That baby isn't his. Get out while you can. Her fingers trembled as she typed back, Who is this? The reply came instantly. A friend. Reyes' enemies. Powerful ones. That baby is leverage. Ask him about Project Nightshade. She asked. Nothing more came. When Jackson returned home near midnight, Abby showed him the messages. His face went cold. Project Nightshade is classified, he said. A defense contract my company is bidding on. Nobody outside my executive team should know that name. His eyes cut to her, suspicion flaring again. But this time it faded faster. You're showing me this because you don't understand it either. If you were part of some scheme, you wouldn't hand me the evidence. By morning, security had doubled outside the house, and Jackson had moved the paternity test up. I need to know for certain, he said, if Thomas is mine. He paced, piecing it together out loud, the timing of Jessica's reappearance, right as the biggest contract of his career hung in the balance. What better way to distract me, he said, than to hand me a son? Abby made a decision that morning. She wasn't about to sit at home while danger circled his family. I want to come with you for the test, she told him. He argued. She held firm. After those messages, I'm not comfortable letting Thomas out of my sight. A ghost of a smile crossed his exhausted face. You've known him 36 hours. That's apparently all it takes, she said. Outside the private clinic, as they walked back to the car, a black sedan idled across the street. Windows tinted, engine running. Abby's pulse spiked. But instead of danger, a woman stepped out. Tall, poised, ice in her eyes. Jackson, she called. We need to talk. Jackson stepped in front of Abby and the baby. Victoria, what are you doing here? Victoria Sinclair, his ex-wife, and the company's CFO, didn't waste time. The board knows about the baby. They're worried about the impact on Nightshade. The last thing this company needs is a paternity scandal. Her eyes flicked to Abby, sharp and assessing. And who exactly is this? Another one of Jessica's little friends. She's Thomas's nanny, Jackson said, and she knows nothing. Neither do I, for that matter. Victoria's laugh was brittle. Please. Jessica shows up pregnant right as we're finalizing the biggest contract of the company's history, then vanishes the second things get complicated. And now you've replaced her with this woman. She produced a tablet. Take a look at who Jessica had lunch with 3 days before she first called you about the pregnancy. Jackson's face went white as he scrolled. Without a word, he handed the tablet back and turned to Abby. We're leaving. Now. In the car, Jackson made call after call using the privacy partition, his face growing darker with every one. When he finally hung up, he told Abby the name behind the photo, Harold Archer. CEO of Archer Global, Jackson's biggest rival for the Nightshade contract, and the man Jessica had been having lunch with days before she claimed to be carrying his child. This doesn't prove anything, Abby said carefully, though even she didn't believe it. 3 days after that lunch, Jackson said, she told me she was pregnant. I was an idiot not to question it. You wanted to believe you had a son, Abby said softly. There's nothing idiotic about that. Then his phone rang again. This time, his face drained of all color. They found Jessica, he said, at a hotel downtown, with Harold Archer. She wants to meet in person. Says there's something she needs to tell me. I'm coming with you, Abby said immediately. He refused. She pushed back. What if this is a trap? What if separating you from Thomas is exactly the plan? That stopped him cold. In the end, they all went, Abby and Thomas waiting in the car with security while Jackson went inside alone. 15 minutes, he promised. 15 minutes came and went. Then 30. Then Abby's phone buzzed with the same unknown number. They've got him. Room 1042. Hurry. Her blood ran cold. She showed the guard immediately, and within minutes a full team moved into the hotel, Abby and Thomas secured in the center of the formation, her heart hammering louder with every step toward the 10th floor. The door to room 1042 swung open on chaos, furniture overturned, paper scattered, a lamp shattered on the floor. No Jackson, no Jessica, just his cracked phone lying in the wreckage, and on the carpet nearby, small dark droplets that made Abby's stomach drop. Blood. Security footage confirmed the worst. Jackson had entered the room 40 minutes earlier. 20 minutes after that, 3 men were seen half carrying him out through a service corridor, faces angled carefully away from every camera. He'd been taken. Then Abby's phone buzzed one more time. Still have the baby? Good. Bring him to the park by the zoo entrance. 1 hour. Come alone, or Bennett dies. Every protective instinct in Abby's body screamed at once. Security wanted to protect her and Thomas above all else. Abby wanted to save Jackson. They'll kill him if we don't show up, she argued. In the middle of this standoff, a stunning discovery arrived. The paternity results rushed through at Jackson's request. Thomas was not his son, but the DNA told an even stranger story. The mother wasn't Jessica at all. It was Victoria. Victoria and Harold Archer had a baby together and used Jessica as a decoy to convince Jackson the child was his. The plan had started simply: distract Jackson during the most important negotiation of his career. But then Jackson fell in love with Thomas, started talking about changing his will, and a distraction became a threat to everything Victoria and Archer had built. With law enforcement now moving fast, a plan was set. Abby would go to the meeting point as instructed, but instead of Thomas, she'd carry a doll wrapped in his blanket, wired for sound, surrounded by an unseen tactical team. As dusk settled over the park, Abby walked toward the bench by the south gate, her arms aching around the fake bundle, her heart in her throat. Victoria was waiting, composed as ever. "You're more resourceful than you look," she said coolly. "Now hand over my son." "Where's Jackson?" Abby asked, resting, as comfortably as one can with a concussion. Victoria's eyes flicked toward the bundle, something almost human flickering across her face. The plan was never supposed to go this far. Jessica was just supposed to keep him distracted. Then Jackson actually fell in love with the boy, started talking succession plans. Her voice hardened again. "Now, the baby. I want to see Jackson first." Victoria's patience snapped. She snapped her fingers, and 2 men melted out of the shadows. "Search her." That was the moment the trap sprang. A voice rang out through hidden speakers. "Victoria Sinclair, you are surrounded. Release Jackson Reyes and surrender immediately." Chaos exploded. Victoria lunged for the bundle, the blanket falling away to reveal the doll underneath, and a scream of fury echoed across the park as tactical officers closed in. In the confusion, Abby broke free and sprinted toward a maintenance building where Jackson was being held, finding him bound to a chair, blooded but alive. "Abby," he mumbled, "days," as she worked to free him. "Thomas is safe," she told him. "His with Pierce. It's over now." In the weeks that followed, Victoria and Harold Archer faced charges ranging from corporate espionage to kidnapping. Jessica, tracked down hiding out of state, turned on them both, confirming she'd been paid to play her part in the scheme from the very beginning. And Thomas, sweet, innocent Thomas, the center of it all, became the subject of a legal battle that ended not in scandal, but in love. "You're sure about this?" Abby had asked, when Jackson first said he wanted to adopt Thomas legally, regardless of biology. "More sure than I've been about anything," he answered. "Biology doesn't make a father. Love does." The court agreed. Full custody was granted, and slowly the household that had been built on a wrong number became something real. Months later, on a golden autumn evening, Abby stood on the terrace overlooking the Boston skyline, watching Jackson rock Thomas gently in his arms. "He's finally asleep," Jackson whispered, laying the baby down in his bassinet before turning back to her, taking both her hands in his. The adoption paperwork is almost final. He hesitated, something new in his voice. There's something else. The lawyer asked if we should prepare a second set of papers. For you. Abby's breath caught. Are you asking me to marry you? I'm asking you to be Thomas's mother, he said, legally and in every other way. The proposal comes next. I thought we'd do this one step at a time. She laughed through sudden tears. Since when are you so cautious? You hired a total stranger as your son's nanny because she answered a wrong number at 2 a.m. Fair point, he said, pulling her closer, his forehead resting against Hayes. So, Abby Miller, will you be Thomas's mother and my wife? Not necessarily in that order, she whispered. Yes, she said, to both. As the sun sank behind the city, casting the three of them in gold, Abby thought back to that first terrifying, ordinary night, a stranger's mistake, a crying baby, a wrong number in the dark. It had led her, somehow, to exactly where she was always meant to be.